I'd like to thank you folks for standing by me as we continue in our quest to keep the doors of web development open. If you're new here, and if you have not yet subscribed, I do hope that you'll consider subscribing if you like this kind of content. Join us, and together we shall make PHP great again. In this video, I'm going to teach you about Trongate CSS. Now, Trongate CSS is a CSS library that comes with the Trongate framework. And in case you're wondering why you should be interested in this, well, Trongate CSS is really, really easy. So easy that you don't even need documentation. Trust me, you're going to be amazed by how easy this is. Secondly, Trongate CSS is V1 forever. So you're not going to turn around in 6 months and find out that all of your stuff is out of date. Trongate falls upon core technologies, and that gives you massive amounts of stability, which is a very cool thing. And finally, Trongate CSS gives you fantastic clean source code that I almost got wrong there. And that means high search engine optimization rankings. That's pretty much it. End of introduction. Let's code. Now, for this little tutorial, I'm going to be using the Trongate desktop app. This is available free of charge. If you go to trongate.io, download. You just choose your operating system and away you go. I'd like to remind all of you that Trongate is free. The desktop app is free. These things will always be free. There is no pro version. There's no upsell. Free, and it's free forever. Oh, did I say free? Good. However, I know that one or two of you are a little bit paranoid, and that's okay. If you're in that department, you can download Trongate straight from GitHub. There's a link right there. And all I ask, by the way, is that if you like Trongate, please give us a star on GitHub. We need your support. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you have that. Now, if you have any challenges, we have a help bar. You can ask for help here, and you can be sure of a speedy response. But let's assume that you have the Trongate desktop app. So what you want to do is when you open it, make sure that you have PHP and your database up and running. Now, I'm using XAMPP here, so I'm just going to go to Manage Servers. I'll start up Apache, and I'll start up MySQL. XAMPP is, of course, free of charge. We're not really going to be doing any database work here, but it's just nice to have this stuff on, okay? Now, back over to the Trongate desktop app. You're going to end up with a page like this, and I'm going to say Create New App, and I'm going to choose New Trongate App, and I'll say CSS Demo. That's going to be my app name. I'll just click Submit. It's going to ask me to enter a base URL. Now, I'm happy with the URL that we've got here, so I'm just going to hit Submit. And then it's going to ask for database connection details. Now, if you just click on here, it's going to suggest some settings. And for the vast majority of you, these settings will be fine. But please, if you need to change them, please go ahead. That's fine. Finally, it's going to ask to choose a location for the new app. So I'm going to click. And because I'm using XAMPP, I'm going to be having the web app going into htdocs. So I'm selecting htdocs, and I'm going to click Create New App here. Okay, so now we're going to have this page here, and it's going to say Generate New App. And when we click on the magic yellow button, it's going to download the latest version of Trongate from GitHub. It's going to set up the config files, and it's even going to create a little database over on MySQL that you can view on PHPMyAdmin if you want. All of that is going to happen faster than I could possibly say it. So let's click Generate New App. So there you go, it's grabbing it from GitHub, and there you go. And now if we click View Your New App, you're going to get something like this, okay? Now I'm zoomed in, so maybe it's a bit more like this for you. If you look at the URL, you'll see it looks fantastic. We're in localhost here. Now I'm going to open up the text editor, and I'm going to open up that folder that has just been added. And of course, the web app is the folder. So into htdocs, and it's CSS demo, and here we go. Now, if you have a look on the top left hand side, this is the Trongate framework, right? Now open up config and then config.php. You'll see a very important message here, but we can delete that, it's okay. By the way, if you see anything that says powered by Trongate or anything, please feel free to remove it. That applies for everything, okay? Don't worry, there's nothing uncool here. Now, do you see how it says default module welcome? Well, everything in Trongate is a module. A module is really just a folder that contains a bunch of stuff. If you look over on the left, you'll see that we even have a folder called templates. This is a module for dealing with page templates. And because templates are kind of special, I thought I'll have those at the root directory level. But if you take a really close look, you'll see that we have a folder or a directory called modules. And if I click in there, you'll see that we have a module called welcome. And can you see how the config is saying that the default module is welcome? Now, if you open up this, you'll see that we've got a thing called controllers and views. Our default controller is called welcome. And sure enough, we have a file called welcome, and it contains a class. And would you believe it? Our default method is index. Remember that a method is just a function that is inside a class. So that's how that all works. I hope you'll agree it's kind of straightforward. Now, if we go like this and we say function test and we echo hello, well, when we refresh, nothing is going to happen because, of course, our config is saying make the default method index. But if we change this to test, the default method, save, and refresh, now if I zoom you in, you'll see that it says hello. Kind of easy, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to just immediately load up a view file, and I'll just call it CSS demo. You can call it anything you want. I'm just going to go with CSS demo. Now, inside the views folder, which is in our welcome module, let's make a new file and we'll call it css_demo.php. And now I'm going to do a little bit of HTML. Now, by the way, I'm using Emmet. So Emmet, that's E-M-M-E-T. That's a free plugin that you can get for VS Code, Sublime, Atom, all of the major text editors. It's free of charge. And all I was doing there is I had Emmet and I did an exclamation mark and a tab, okay? Now I'm going to change the title here to Trongate CSS demo. And I'm going to go into this body area and do a little H1 and I'll just say Trongate CSS. Okay, now save it. We're going to refresh. Okay, now keep in mind that I am zoomed in, so maybe you've got something a bit more like that. And what we have here is just an ordinary HTML page. There's nothing weird going on. There's no other JavaScript or anything. It's just a very, very simple page. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add Trongate CSS to this page. If you look inside the public folder, you'll see that we've got a file called CSS, and inside here there is a file called Trongate.css. Here it is here. It's actually a very small file. It's only 300 and odd lines, at least at the moment. Maybe that'll change, but it's bound to stay small. You can see that it uses a font family of Tahoma by default. Now Tahoma is a web-safe font. That means it will work on your device without you having to install anything extra. So everything here is built for speed. Everything here is designed to last. Now there's something I want to show you. If we go back to this view file, and if we do this, right, this is the same as saying echo. It's PHP short tags, right? Now there's a thing inside config called base URL. This is a constant, okay? A constant is like a variable, except it does not change throughout the lifespan of the app. So we can go to our view file, and using PHP short tags, we can echo base underscore URL like this. Maybe I'll chuck it inside an H2 to make it stand out a little bit. And if we do that, save it, you can see that it gives us our base URL here. Now the reason why that's cool is because it means that we can go to this top part here, our head section, and we can add in a link to Trongate CSS. The way that we do this using Emmet is we say link tab. It's going to give you some code like this, and now we're going to link to our CSS file. So we're using short tags and we're echoing base URL. Then it's going to be css/Trongate.css. Now save it and refresh. And do you see how the font has changed? Again, I'm really zooming in here, but can you see how the font has changed color? Looks kind of different. That is a clue, and it tells us that Trongate CSS works. Now, let's go, we'll get rid of this H2, it has served its purpose. And let's do a little paragraph with a little bunch of lorem. I'm just going to just type lorem. Actually, can you do lorem times 10 and then tab? Okay, so that's giving us a whole bunch of text here. I'm going to save, I'm going to refresh, and there you go. Now, that maybe doesn't look like too much, but what I'm going to do is just show you a few features of Trongate CSS, and I do hope that you can handle it. So what I'll do is, just for the purposes of simplicity, I'll add in some style tags down here. Remember folks, the most important part of CSS is the C. It means cascading. So it's okay for you to do styles on top of styles. For example, we can say body, and we can say background color, and I'm going to say steel blue like that, okay? So try that, save it, have a refresh, and now we've got a nice blue background. Now what I'm going to do is we'll take this area here where all of the stuff is, and I'm going to chuck it inside a div, okay? So I'll say div. Now there's no real reason why I'm saying div. I could easily say section or anything else, but I'll just say div. Most people are familiar with divs, right? And as you would expect, I'll do a little indent here for you. If we save and refresh, nothing really happens. But what we could do is go up to this div here, and I'm going to chuck in a little class equal to, and I'll call it container. Okay, now save this, and then we're going to refresh. And what you'll find is that it now contains the page content. So it's not stretching all across the page there. Now at the moment, this looks a bit difficult to see. So if you want to make life interesting, how about if we do a little custom class of our own? Maybe we could call it fill page, fill-page. And using ordinary CSS, I'll just say fill page is going to have a background color that is white. So all the F's with a little hash symbol, or you can just write the word white if you want, doesn't matter. And I'm going to say minimum height 100 VH, that's the viewport height. So save, refresh, and what do you know? A nice little layout, and we hardly had to do a thing. Now, I'm going to walk you through some of the main features of Trongate CSS, and I think I'm going to start with buttons. So let's go maybe here, and we'll do a little H2, and we'll just say buttons, okay? And we'll have a paragraph, and I want you to just do the word button, tab, and then inside here we'll just say normal button. Now notice I haven't added any classes or anything, nor have I added any IDs. But if we save and refresh, you'll see that we have a fabulous button with a hover effect and everything. Looks kind of cool. Now I hope you like the button, it's a nice button. But of course, in the real world, well, normally commercial sites might have two buttons, a primary and a secondary. By the way, I did a search for car insurance and this came up at the top of page 1. So here we can see a primary button and a secondary, or let's call it an alternative button. Now, there's not many classes or anything to learn or memorize with Trongate CSS, but there are a few. And one of them is for if you want an alternative button. So I'm going to head down here. I'm just going to write alt or alternative button, whatever you want. Alternative I'll go with, right? And if we want an alternative button, we're going to just say class equals alt. Simple as that. We're going to save and we're going to refresh, and hallelujah, don't it look good? Now the nice thing about this is if we inspect and view this on a mobile device, and if I zoom you in, you can see that it looks fantastic. In fact, it's going to look great on any device size. Now, another thing I want to introduce you to is custom colors. So let me do a little H3 here, and I'll just say custom button colors. Forgive my UK spelling, people from America. But I'm going to go like this, and I know that you've seen this before, where you'll have a button that might say something like, let's say warning, and then maybe we've got one that says danger, and finally you might have one that says success, something like that. Okay, so you've seen this type of thing with frameworks like Bootstrap, and the convention is that warning is usually orange, danger is red, and success is normally blue. You might even have, success is normally green. Normally you'll have one info that's usually blue, okay? Now if we just save and refresh, not much happening here, but that's where ordinary good old-fashioned CSS comes into play. So the way that we would do custom colors is something like this. I'm going to say class equals orange, warning. There you go, class is warning, all right? Now we'll do a wee bit of CSS right underneath this. We can do that. That's all right. That's what it was made for. And we're going to say for a class of warning, let's just say that the background color is orange and the border is 1 pix orange solid. You can of course say 1 pix solid orange if that's what you want. That's fine. And if we save and refresh, there you go. We have an orange button. Now when I'm hovering over it, it's changing. Do you see how it's going this blue color? Maybe that's not what you want. So I'm going to right click and inspect. I'll show you a little trick. I'm using Google Chrome, and over on the bottom right we've got a little color picker. If we click and drag down just by maybe about 1 centimeter, sample a color, and then what we're going to do is we're going to say for warning hover. That means we're hovering over it. And so for that, I'll just say background color is that little beauty there, and the border is 1 pix, that little beauty, and solid. Now save it, and let's have a refresh and look at the nice hover effect. Pretty cool. And this is how easy it is to create your own colors. You can obviously have any class names that you want. This is us using pure CSS. I'm going to do one for danger. So let's say background color is red, border, 1 pix red solid. Now, of course, you can make it any color you want. And if we hover, so that's danger, hover, well, I happen to know from memory, background color, something like 991234 zeros. And the border, 1 pix, hash, 991234 zeros and solid. Save it. Now, that's danger. So I need to add, of course, a class of danger onto this button. Hello, that's the style. And as we save and refresh, look at that. It is perfect. Let's do one more. Let's do success. So I'll say class equals success. And I'm just showing you how easy this is, right? So I'll just say dot success. Let's just say background color is green. And I'll say border is 1 pix green solid. Okay, so that's going to give us a green button. Now when we hover, okay, I'll say dot success hover. Now let's try a little experiment just for fun, right? Let's see if we can guess what a dark green would be. So if you think about RGB, right? RGB. Well, the G is green. And if we think about 0 is the lowest number that we can get, right? So we'll go 0, 0 on red and 0, 0 on blue. And the highest we can get is all of the Fs, right? So if we save that, and I'm going to hover, you can see it's going a really bright green, right? But if we wanted a dark green, well, maybe we could chuck in a 3, for example. That might be a bit too dark. How about an A? It's starting to get there. All right, let's try a 7. Just about perfect. I think 5's the one. And there we go. So let's now just say border, 1 pix. And we'll say 005500. Solid. One of the things that I'm working on at the moment, and it's just a personal thing, is I'm trying to figure out how to just come up with colours off the top of my head, and hopefully kind of exotic colours so that I never have to look them up. Maybe that's for another tutorial though. But in any event, do you agree that that's kind of easy? Kind of easy. Let's do different sizes of buttons. So I'll go like that. I'll say different sized buttons. And we'll just do another paragraph. And I'll just say something like, you know what? Let's just copy all of these. And we'll just have 3 paragraphs. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now these ones are going to be normal. These ones are going to be small, and these ones are going to be large. Now, how do we do that? Well, let me just say class is small or smaller, something like that. Now, we don't have a smaller class in Trongate CSS, so I'll go down here where the styles are, and I'll just say that for dot smaller, font size is 0.8M. And there you go. Okay, and if you want something like bigger or larger or anything you want, again, I'll just say class is bigger. And we'll go down here and we're going to say dot bigger, font size. I'll maybe make this 1.4M. And it's as simple as that. Doesn't it feel nice to be using pure CSS? Doesn't it feel nice to know that you're building stuff that's not going to break? Stuff that will last for 10, who knows, 20 years? Now, let's quickly talk about forms. If I take you to the Trongate website at trongate.io, and we'll have a little look at the docs here. We do have a section on Trongate CSS, and there is a page here with Trongate CSS examples. And if we scroll down, you'll see that we have got a form here. Here it is here. Now I'm going to just copy this straight from the documentation. And what we'll do is we'll head down here. I'll chuck in a little H3. I'll say forms. Maybe a little div. Actually, we don't even need a div. Let's just paste in the code, okay? Now that is straight from the documentation. And I want you to notice that this is pretty much a pure HTML form. We have a label, little form input field, another label, another input. Here's a drop down. Now notice that there's no classes shenanigans. There's nothing to learn. Now the only exception is our link, which I'll talk about in a minute. But if we save and refresh and scroll down, look at the fabulous form. It is perfect. You view this on a mobile device. So I'm going to inspect. Click on my little mobile icon. And look at that. The forms are absolutely fantasticola. No matter how you view them. How about an iPad mini? It's all perfect. It's all cool. And by the way, look at this source code. Look at this source code. Straight into the good stuff. H1 immediately. Look at it. I tell you what, the search engines are going to be loving you, that's for sure. And that's what this one is all about. Now, is there anything else? Well, I suppose I could do a couple of other things. So let's do some text alignment. So I'll do a little H3 here. And I'll just say text. Align. Okay. So maybe I should have done that. I'll make this a bit bigger, forgive me. And we'll make this on one line. Why am I being daft? Right, there we go. So if we go like this, and if we say something like, here is some normal text. So if we save, scroll down, you can see right down the bottom there. Now let me just quickly chuck in a little thing here. Style equals height 900 pixels. It's just so we can do this, right? So that's some normal text, okay? Now underneath this, I'm going to say here is some right aligned text. This is something that is, of course, incredibly common when you're building. And the way that we would do that is we would just say class equals text right. And if we save and refresh, there it is over on the right. Of course, we can have some centered text. So I'll do a paragraph. I'll say here is some centered text. And to do that, we just say class equals text center. There you go. And of course, you can go in and you can say paragraph text left. And we'll just say here is some left aligned text as well. And that will look the same as ordinary text, of course. Let's talk about floats. So I'll do an H3 and I'll say floats. So that means sending an element, usually to the left or right. So if we go like this, let's have a button and I'll just say float right button. Okay, so there's our button there. And if we want to send this over to the right, we can just say class equals float right. And you'll see that that button has swung over to the right. Of course, we can do the same with float left as well. Very common. And it's so easy, you don't even really need me. It's so easy and so obvious, right? Let's talk about links. So I'll do that and we'll just say for links or text links, let's say. So with Trongate CSS, you can have an ordinary text link. Maybe I'll do a paragraph and I'll say, here comes a link and we'll just do something like A. So the link would go somewhere, and you might just say click me. Now that's just pure HTML. Pure HTML. And let me just add in a little style. Equals clear both. Alright. That's just ordinary CMS. I'm getting out of the ways of those floats. How about margin top 33 pixels? Oops. Correction. Margin top. Let's do 3M. Can you believe it? Alright. 7M. There we go. Okay, so that's an ordinary text link, right? No big deal. But suppose you wanted a link that looks like a button. For example, here's a link, and I'm going to say something like click here. So it's an ordinary link, but to turn it into a button, all we have to do is say class equals button. Alright? Now let's do an alternative button. So I'll just say alt button link. So all we do is we say classes button, and then we add on alt. Remember that you can add classes on top of each other like this. And sure enough, there it is. Really, really easy, right? Now we're almost finished. There's not too much left to show you. So I'll show you some tables now. And all I want to do here, I think, is just make up a table. Maybe have some table rows. Now you can add in T-body if you want. That's optional, right? But I'll keep it really simple. And I'll just have 4 table headings. I'm going to say first name. Whoop. I'm going to say last name. And I'll just say age and city. Now that is pure HTML, right? So let's do TR. We'll do TD times 4. And I'll just add a couple here. So let's have John Smith. Age is 32, from London. Okay, I'll do this again. Let's have maybe 2 more. I'll have Sarah. Let's have Jones. Sarah Jones is going to be 21, maybe from New York. And then we'll just have one more. I'll just say Sam whatever. And that is going to be 45 from Paris. Now you'll agree that I've not added any IDs or anything. So there's nothing to remember. Quite frankly, there's nothing to teach. And if we refresh, we have a fabulous table. Isn't that fantastic? Say you wanted the city or something or whatever to be a line center. Well, you know how to do that, right? You would just say something like class equals text center. And it's as simple as that. So it's really, really easy. And the whole idea is that this makes HTML nice without you having to remember anything. Now, I'm going to finish up, I think, by showing you something a little bit more advanced. So, for anyone who's wondering about layouts, like divs and all of that stuff, and how do you do page layouts, well, I think that pure CSS is the best way to go. I don't think that you can improve upon the grid system, Flexbox, and things like that. I don't think that a CSS library is required for that type of stuff. However, Trongate does have a few templates, and you can make your own templates quite easily as well. And I would like to give you a demonstration of that before we finish, okay? So let's make another function here, and I'll call this function something like demo. All right, now if we echo hello, I'm going to save it, and I'm going to go to welcome, which is the name of the module, /demo, and you'll see that we've got this here. So what I'm going to do this time, and it's a little bit more advanced, is instead of just loading up a view file, I'm going to load up a template, right? So here's how this goes. We're going to say data view module equals welcome. We're going to say data view file equals, now give the file a name, anything you want. It can even be something like homepage content or demo, anything you want, okay? And then finally, one more line. We're going to say this, and we're going to load up template. Now, Trongate has got a couple of templates that come with it. There's also templates you can get from the module market as well. Free of charge, I might add. And I'm going to have the public template, which is the name of one of the templates that we have. It's just a starter template. Now, I'm going to say comma data, and I'm passing the data into the template. Now let's make a view file up. So I'm going into modules, I'm inside welcome, and we're going to have a new file called demo.php. Okay, now how about a little h1, and we're going to say demo view file ahoy. So that's our view file, right? I'll do a little paragraph. If you can read this, then all is well. All right. Now let's save, and we're going to refresh this page. And look at that. A fabulous template. And by the way, this thing looks pretty nice on mobile devices and gives you slide menus and all sorts. How cool is that? And that's how easy it is. Now, I said right at the start that Trongate was really, really easy. So easy that you don't even need documentation. And I'm going to prove it. Because you are now going to build a modal. You know those little buttons you click on and then a window flies out and all of that stuff? It's kind of fancy stuff, right? You're going to build one of those and you're not going to even need me. Let me demonstrate. Now we'll start off with a paragraph. We'll have a little button here. And then on the button, let's just say open modal. All right. Now save that, refresh, and you're going to have something like this. I'll zoom you in, right? Now when we click on it, nothing happens. It's just an ordinary modal. However, we're going to make it so that when we click on this, we're going to have a little thing flies out. It's going to be fantastic. Now, I'll get you started. Not that you really need me, but I'll get you started anyway. So let's imagine that the modal is going to be inside a div. Okay? Fair enough? It's going to be inside a div, right? Now watch this. This is how good you are. This modal is going to have a class. The modal is going to have a class. What do you think the name of the class is for a modal? What do you think the class name is for a modal? Touch the screen. Yes, indeed, you genius. Modal. I felt that energy. Congratulations. Sounds good to me. Now, most modals, if you can visualize, have a little bit along the top with a heading, usually with a colored background, and then they'll have a main body area. So let's imagine we're going to have a little div here, and it's going to have a class. What do you think the name of the class is for the modal heading? Touch the screen. It's the modal heading. What do you think the class is called? Oh, modal heading. I felt that. So here we go. Now let's just type in modal heading ahoy or anything you want. Now, what do you think the name of the class is? We'll have another little div. What do you think the name of the class is for the modal body? Take a guess. That's right. Modal body. So we'll tab it on out. How about a little paragraph? Little bit of lorem, and don't it make you feel good? That is excellent. Now, if we go up to this button and click it, nothing is happening. Okay, I'm clicking it. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of JavaScript onto this button, just ordinary JavaScript. I'm going to say onClick equals, and we're going to call upon a thing called open modal. And then we're going to do these parentheses. Okay, now keep in mind it's possible for a page to have 80 different modals. Maybe there's a modal for confirm, delete, another modal for previewing a picture, another with more information. So we need some way of letting the button know that when we click open modal, we want it to open this modal, this particular modal. So how are we going to identify the modal? How do you think we do that? That's right, it's an ID. So we're going to give our modal an ID. ID equals, now it can be anything, I'll call it demo modal. Anything you want though, right? So the modal has now got an ID. And then I'm going to pass the ID in here. Demo modal. And we're going to save. We're going to refresh. Click on open modal. And look at that. You never even had to look at the docs. That is what Trongate CSS is all about. Now check this. I'm not even going to teach you. How do you think you close the modal? Let's have some fun. We'll do one more paragraph. We'll do a little text center. There you go. We're going to have a little button, even a little alternative button, right? We'll make it clear. And I'm going to just say close. Okay, so here it is, close, right? Now, take a wild guess. How do you think we make it so that when we click on it, it's going to close the modal? How do you think that works? That's right. You say onClick equals close modal. And that's it. Now we don't need to pass in an ID because there's only ever one modal open at a time. And if we save, if we refresh, I'll maybe zoom back a wee bit and look at this and close, and it's as easy as that. That's Trongate CSS. Really easy, really fast. It gives you fabulous source code. You're going to be the search engine's best friend, and your clients are going to think that you are a hero. Thank you for watching. And please, if you like Trongate, please do give us a star on GitHub. We need your support. Thanks.